They thought you would break. They rejoiced when they saw you cry. They said, "You'll never make it." But today, your silence terrifies them. Your comeback haunts them. They tried to destroy you, but Allah wanted to build you. And now they deeply regret that choice. Part 1. They planned your fall. They didn't stumble into hurting you by accident. It was intentional. They knew where your heart was vulnerable, and they struck. They broke your heart, not from ignorance, but from a place of calculation. They turned away when you needed them most, not because they were busy, but because they chose to isolate you. They wanted to see you stand alone, stripped of support, so you would break under the pressure. They didn't just doubt your dreams, they mocked them. They spoke behind your back with smirks and sideways glances, turning your vision into a punchline. They couldn't imagine someone like you doing something great, because their hearts were too small to see beyond their own limits. And when you stumbled, when you made mistakes, they didn't offer a hand. They laughed. They used your low moments as entertainment, not realizing that those very failures were the soil from which your strength would rise. But in the silence, while they schemed, something unseen was unfolding. Surah Al-Imran 354. They plotted, and Allah also planned, and Allah is the best of planners. You didn't fight back with vengeance. You didn't explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You stayed silent, not out of weakness, but out of strategy, because you knew that the one who sees every tear, every betrayal, every mocking word, he was watching, and while they planned your fall, Allah was writing your rise. Lesson: your silence wasn't surrender. It was trust. You gave the battle to Allah, and He never loses. This is just the beginning. Stay silent, stay faithful, because soon they'll watch the same person they tried to bury rise from the ashes with the help of the one who never fails. Part 2. Allah watched. Silently, when you cried, they didn't comfort you. They laughed. Your pain became their entertainment. Your vulnerability became a spectacle. Every tear you shed in the dark was followed by whispers and chuckles in the light. But what they didn't see was that Allah was watching. He didn't intervene right away. He didn't shake the earth beneath them the moment they mocked you. He watched silently. Not because He didn't care, but because He was writing something greater. Your justice. They thought your silence meant weakness. They thought their cruelty had no witness, but in the unseen realm your du'as were rising, and Allah, the most just, was recording every sigh, every tear, every injustice in perfect detail. Hadith, Bukhari. Allah says, "I respond to the du'a of the oppressed, even if he is a disbeliever." This is divine law. Oppression does not go unanswered in the court of the Most High. Even if you forgot what they did, Allah did not. Even if you forgave, He still holds the power to bring justice in the most unexpected, undeniable ways. And now, without even knowing it, they're waiting. Waiting for doors to open that never will. Waiting for success that slips through their fingers. Waiting for peace in hearts that remain restless because they played with something sacred, your tears. Reflection: your cries were never ignored. They echoed in the heavens while the world remained deaf. And now, the same hands that pointed at you will tremble as they realize that Allah never forgets. Your justice is not delayed. It's being perfectly timed. Trust in His silence. It's the calm before your rise. Part 3. Allah rebuilt. They thought they ended you, but in reality, they only pushed you toward the one who never breaks hearts. In your isolation, you found strength, not from the world, but from within. You stopped begging for support from people who delighted in your pain. Instead, you stood up, quietly, firmly, faithfully. You built your character in silence. While they talked, you transformed. While they mocked, you matured. You outgrew their noise in the stillness of your connection with Allah, and somewhere in the dark, broken pieces of your past, you fell deeply in love with your Lord. The same people who once pitied you now stare in confusion, even fear. Because your peace is unshakable, and they can't understand how someone they tried to destroy is now glowing with purpose. Surah Al-Anfal 8:30. Allah plans better for the believers. They had plans to break you, but Allah had a better plan. To rebuild you stronger, more grounded, more focused, and far more dangerous to the darkness that once surrounded you. You've let go. You've forgiven. Not because they deserved it, but because your soul deserved freedom. Lesson: you moved on with grace. But know this, Allah never forgot. He saw it all. And while you built peace in your heart, He built justice in your future. You're not just healed, you're reborn. And no one can touch the one whom Allah Himself has rebuilt. Part 4. Now. They regret it. They thought you were nothing without them. They thought leaving you broken would leave you bitter. But now, they see you. Not the version they tried to destroy, but the version Allah rebuilt in silence and strength. Now they watch from a distance, and for the first time they realize losing you was their biggest mistake. You didn't just survive. You rose. You became everything they said you'd never be, and here's the truth they never saw before. You were never theirs to play with. You were always meant for more, always beyond their reach. They realize now that while they were plotting, you were preparing, and while they were laughing, you were healing. Hadith, Tirmidhi: whoever gives up something for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with something better. You let go, not in weakness but in worship. You didn't seek revenge. You sought Allah, and now look at you, whole, at peace, protected. They can't touch the person you've become. Not because you're hiding, but because you're surrounded by something they can't penetrate: divine favor. Reflection: they look at your calm face and feel chaos inside, because your peace is proof. Proof that they lost someone irreplaceable, and you gained everything. Let them regret, let them wonder. Because your silence was never empty. It was the sound of Allah filling your life with better. Twist: the real victory was never in revenge. They expected you to fight back. They waited for your retaliation, for anger, for rage, for the same pain they gave you in return. But instead, you raised your hands in dua. You chose patience over pride. You chose Allah over revenge. And in that quiet, unseen moment, you won. Because true victory was never in crushing them. It was in not becoming like them. It was in holding your dignity when they lost theirs. It was in trusting that what Allah gives is far better than what revenge could ever satisfy. Allah granted you victory the very moment you chose dua over revenge. Your strength wasn't in your reaction. It was in your restraint. Your weapon wasn't your words. It was your faith. And that shook them more than anything else ever could. Surah Fussilat 41:34. Good and evil are never equal. Repel evil with what is better, and your enemy may become your closest friend. You didn't just walk away. You rose above. You showed that the believer's heart is too full of Allah to be consumed by bitterness. And maybe, just maybe, your grace planted a seed in their hardened hearts. Maybe your silence is the echo they now can't escape. True victory. It was never about making them feel what you felt. It was about showing the difference between someone used by pain and someone guided by faith. They wanted to break. You wanted to build. But Allah, He wanted to raise you. Now, they realized they were not your destroyers. They were part of your elevation. Comment below, "O Allah, I believe no one can change what you've written. Grant me patience and guidance." Subscribe to Peaceful Deen, where behind every broken heart, we search for Allah's mercy.